Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me on my channel today. Today I'm going to talk about the 5 masculine fragrances I would choose to begin a fragrance collection. For those of you who are new here, my name is Ashley. I'm classically trained in fragrance creation, and I work as an apprentice perfumer for the largest manufacturer of fragrances in the world. If you're interested in all things fragrance, some behind the scenes, some reviews, consider subscribing to the channel, and if you end up liking this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. So the first fragrance that I'm going to be talking about, and the first fragrance that I think you kind of need in your collection, is that ultra formal fragrance. So this is the fragrance that's going to get you through job interviews, that's going to get you through meeting your significant other's parents, and just works for these super kind of formal day-to-day events. You know, if you work in kind of a uptight office, or things of this nature, or something, you know, if you go to church and you don't want to bother the people next to you, you need this kind of more formal fragrance. And the fragrance that I would suggest for that, if you still want to smell really good and classy but delicious at the same time, I don't know if delicious is the right word, but you know what I mean. The fragrance I would choose for that is Eau Sauvage by Christian Dior, not to be confused with Sauvage, also by the same manufacturer. Eau Sauvage was one of the first colognes done by kind of a high-end designer, and it still uses a bunch of naturals, and I think that's what keeps this fragrance from getting dated. You know, when you smell it, you can smell orange, lemon, bergamot, and they all smell like the real deal. You also have a touch of rosemary and other aromatic herbal notes. But something about this blend, the fact that it comes from nature, the fact that it is such a classic structure, makes it a timeless fragrance that seems to not really bother too many people, and smells really elegant. You can be sure this isn't a fragrance that smells cheap, and that's why it works in so many of these kind of more buttoned up settings. You can also choose to make this your signature scent, but for that I think I would go with Chanel Bleu Eau de Parfum. Now this fragrance is a bit more modern, not that Eau Sauvage smells dated in any way, but because it was released more recently, it has a lot more synthetics that keep it smelling a bit up to date. And also it has some synthetics like Isoe Super and Ambroxan that give it this really addictive facet. Now this fragrance starts kind of citrus fruity on top, with some lemon notes and other citrus notes, but I think what really gives it this pull factor are these kind of like woody and dry amber notes brought in by the synthetics that really give it an addictive dry down, especially in the eau de parfum. I really prefer the eau de parfum to the eau de toilette, just because I think the eau de toilette is a bit less rounded out. It does have a slight harshness to it, so I really prefer the eau de parfum. And this fragrance is great for basically every other occasion. So you can wear this fragrance if you are in a more casual office, if you're just going out to see friends, even just like doing errands or running the groceries if you want to smell good, but you will also smell really good. So if you have some, you know, chance encounters with someone maybe you find cute, you know that you're smelling great and you're just smelling yourself smelling great. And I feel like that's always such a mood booster. Now let's get into our head turner fragrances. So this is a fragrance kind of if you're going out to the bar or the clubs, maybe you're looking to meet a special someone, this is kind of the fragrance to do that. So the 2 fragrances that I'm going to recommend are big complimenters, especially by the opposite sex, and they're 2 La Mal flankers. I'm not a huge La Mal fan, but I am a huge fan of their flankers. And the first one that I want to recommend is, especially if you're on the younger side, let's say under 30, is Ultramal. And so this is a pear vanilla lavender. And what I love about this fragrance is, honestly, it's not super refined. It's a bit sweet. I don't know if I'd recommend this fragrance for the office, but it is super addictive and super sexy. Now, that's not to say that you can't wear this fragrance if you're older. I just think that the pear note makes it something that is more reminiscent of a younger man's fragrance, but honestly, I don't really believe that fragrance has an age. It's just if you're trying to go by kind of like these classic ideologies. So yes, you have Pear, Lavender, Vanilla. It has great projection, great longevity, and it just kind of has that X factor. And that's also true of Le Mallet Parfum. And I find this to be Ultramal's refined older brother. So you still have the lavender and the vanilla and this addictive facet, just no pear. So it's also a bit deeper, it's a bit richer, and it's just a really good alternative. I think this fragrance has no age. You can wear this fragrance at absolutely any age and it gets a lot of compliments. So this is definitely going to be your compliment getter category of scents. Next up, we have our go-to nighttime fragrance, which is a bit more elegant and a bit more versatile than our head turners. And for that, I would choose Spice Bomb Eau de Toilette. Now, this is one of the greatest designer fragrances I think ever made. You have clove, you have cinnamon, another assortment of spices, all on a base of this delicious vanilla with a touch of tobacco. It is absolutely excellent. It's so different from other designer fragrances on the market. Even if it's your go-to nighttime fragrance, I don't think it's likely that you're gonna smell like anybody else. And what's great is it doubles as a great daytime fragrance in colder weather. Again, you're gonna have good longevity, good projection, you're gonna smell unique, but also really familiar. You're still gonna smell delicious. It's not weird or it's not out there. It's very intriguing. It's unique, but familiar enough where you're not gonna get called out for like, oh, what's that smell? Is that even a cologne? No, it's a really great fragrance. Then we round out this list with one of my all-time favorite cheapies. I consider this kind of like a bonus because honestly, with the other 4 fragrances, you have a complete fragrance collection. You have 2 daytime fragrances and 2 nighttime fragrances that are completely different that will carry you through absolutely any situation. But the cherry on top is this cheapie, and it's Bentley For Him Intense. It's a delicious, boozy, sweet fragrance. I would put it into the head turner or nighttime category, but again, it could double as a casual daytime fragrance in colder weather. And this fragrance is absolutely addictive. The type of fragrance you want to cuddle, you want to nuzzle into. Again, pretty moderate projection and longevity, nothing to sneeze at. Maybe not beast mode, but definitely you're going to be able to smell this fragrance for a good amount of time. And I think that's true of every fragrance on this list. I wanted to choose fragrances that at least had moderate projection and longevity, because if you're going to be making the investment into a fragrance wardrobe, you don't want something that doesn't last at least 4 to 6 hours. You don't want a fleeting fragrance. And so Bentley For Him Intense, for the price point, you can almost always find this fragrance under $50 on Amazon or other websites. And it is such a great smell. Again, it's really different from the other fragrances we mentioned this list with its boozy and sweet notes. So it's just adding another layer of versatility to your collection for a really reasonable price. It is absolutely a masterpiece. If you look at other reviews, all of these fragrances tend to be very highly reviewed, but this is kind of known as being the ultimate cheapie just because it smells so friggin' good. I hope you guys enjoyed this list. I would love to know, what were the first fragrances you chose to start building your fragrance wardrobe? Do you actively think of events to wear fragrance to, or do you just choose the fragrances that you love and over time you've accumulated a fragrance wardrobe? I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Consider subscribing to the channel if you enjoyed, and for those of you who do subscribe, I appreciate you guys so much. I love speaking with you guys in the comments. And yeah, thank you for subscribing to the channel. Bye everyone.